Hi everybody, this is Pat here from the Smashing Skull Sessions and welcome to another episode of The Review Room. And this week I'm delighted to be joined by Rich Bewley and Tim Peenenberg. Lads, great to have you back.
Hello.
Hello.
We're still missing one man.
Missing in action. He did
Missing in
return from he did return from Japan, but now he's got internet issues. So it's a technological failure that prevents him from being with us tonight. So he sends his apologies.
Maybe he should have stayed in Japan, so Rich, and we could have had a better reception, I'd say. But look,
absolutely.
Okay. Well, harm, we have his track. We're going to have a discussion on it. So look, we're going to kick straight into it, guys. I'm going to go with track number one, which is Bipolar Architecture, guys. I don't know, do you know much about them? They had an album about 2 years ago, Depression Land. Tim, would you have been familiar with that? You know, True Project Records, no?
No, it's a new one.
Yeah, this track is called Death of the Architect, and it's not coming out till February 24, the album, which is called Metaphysicize. Let's go straight to track my talk after, guys, because I have a lot to say. Wow, lads, there you have it. That is Death of the Architect from Bipolar Architecture. The album is Metaphysicize, which has been released on February 2024 through Pelagic Records. Just to quote what they've mentioned themselves here, lads, 2 years after releasing Depression Land, a formidable full-length debut that brought together elements of black metal, panoramic post-rock ambience, Berlin-based heavy collective Bipolar Architecture are ready to unleash Metaphysicize, the next brutal evolution of their groundbreaking, genre-defying sound.
Well done for pronouncing the album, by the way, because I really struggle with that.
There was practice, and there was a few fucking mistakes, I can assure you. Right, I'm going to kick off on it, guys, because this track, boy, is immense. It is absolutely immense. The tone, the production is crisp and powerful. The track weighs a fucking ton. It's unreal. Shredded riffs. I don't think you can get more shredded than that. Like, it's straight in there. There's no time wasting in this track. It ebbs and flows, plenty of peaks and troughs, like, but there's no delay. Everything just constantly moves, you know. I was comparing bands like, but this, I'm finding it hard to compare it to anything because it's so diverse in its structure, you know.
Yeah.
So man, I can't get enough of it. It's on repeat all week. Luckily enough, I got sent the album, and the album is equally as good as this track, lads. It's non-stop, start to finish. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's a very impressive song with some old school vibes in it, old school traditional death I think, especially in the drumming, but
Uh-huh.
also mixed with the more modern influences. Some a little bit of an electronic piece in the middle. Somehow reminded me a little bit of a Danish band, Ill Disposed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very impressive, very impressive. So, like you said, like very, yeah, there's a lot of things happening in it.
There is, like you mentioned, the drums, Tim, the blast beats, like, and those double kicks. Holy shit! Like, they just blow
Roaches,
your
yeah.
mind. It's unbelievable. Rich, what do you
Yeah.
think yourself?
Yeah, new band to me, which I
Mm.
was surprised about actually, because I do follow Pelagic, but I missed this release, albeit the album's not out, as you say, till
No.
February. Yeah, I liked the opening, nice atmospheric, posty kind of opening, which
Mm-hmm.
kind of lulled me into thinking it was going to be more sort of post metal, and then obviously it gets down to business pretty quickly after that with some, like you
Yeah.
say, some furious blast beats, which I enjoyed, and some seriously throaty vocals as well, which, as you know, I'm not big on shouty vocals, but I think these really work. They pattern well with the aggressive blast beats. The midsection is quite playful, quite experimental, and then it just kicks right off again into a massive climax, which is quite exciting. It packs a lot, as Tim said. It packs a lot into under 6 minutes, which I'm in favour of again, because, as you know, my attention span's not wonderful. I get to about 6 or 7 minutes, and I start to wander on most things.
That's age, Rich. Come on.
Yeah, even post rock that I really like. I kind of find myself
you fall
drifting
off
off sometimes.
For a little snooze. Wake up again.
Reading a newspaper.
Yeah. I have to Challenger by We Lost the Sea. Now I have to skip the first sort of 6 or 7 minutes because I've fallen asleep.
But you know,
and not in I love the band, but it's like you say, it's just I've hit 50 now, so it's terrifically difficult to not go for a snooze as soon as I sit on the sofa.
Hitting 50, it's like a ledge, isn't it? You just fall off.
Absolutely, yeah. Only happened a couple of months ago.
Still have a couple of years to go then. 3 years.
Oh, well done you. Yeah, just prepare yourself, Tim, because it's just sleep at the drop of a hat, basically. Anyway, sorry, you've gone off on a huge tangent.
There, Rich. You know, you said you're not the biggest fan of Deathly Grows or whatever you want to call them. Like, what sets these apart from the others then? Is it because they follow the melody or something, or?
Yeah, I think they're less dominant, perhaps a little bit slightly under the mix. And that's always my issue. It's like when a melody or some really powerful sonics interrupted. I find it quite annoying sometimes when suddenly the vocalist comes in and starts screaming over the top of a track that I'm really enjoying. I'm like, there's no need for it. It doesn't do anything other than piss me off quite a lot of the time, quite frankly. But there's, 20% of the time, they get it right with the vocals for me, because it's either in the right place in the mix or it suits the crescendos or the peaks of troughs in the music. And the combination, I mean, I've said it before, sound like a stuck record sometimes, but the combination between clean and growled or not clean vocals, again, that contrast and the peaks and troughs of the music, that I can get into that more often than not. But yeah, that's my issue with some heavy vocals.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same. Like, I love heavy vocals most 90% of the time, as opposed to you're lesser than that, obviously. But if it's a 5-minute track where it's aggressive vocals from start to finish, that's too much for me. There needs to be a break there. Like, there needs to be a breakdown, whether without it or with a clean vocal or something. Tim, you're more into the death metal scene than either of the two of us. Like, would you ever sort of overthink that like we are?
No, I agree. I think I mentioned it also before that nowadays I think most of the times the more aggressive vocals to me sound a little bit of how you call it, 13 and a dozen.
Yeah.
Almost the same. When I put on a record and I hear something different in the vocal, or like you said, Pat, a variation in it, then for me that has something extra, and then then it resonates more, easier. Yeah.
Well, anyway, look, on the track itself, guys, I think we're all agreed. Fantastic.
It's a top effort. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. For everybody else, again, if you haven't heard Depression Land, which is already, I can't believe it's 2 years old, don't be afraid to go on Bandcamp, check them out. Pelagic Records, again, you can't go too far wrong, Les. February 24 for this one, but check out the track, and there's a fantastic video to go with this on YouTube as well.
I'm also wondering, Pat, what bipolar architecture might look like in reality.
I don't even think that far ahead. I struggled to get the album name right, so I'm not.
No, you did. I liked the name, but I was thinking when I was doing some research on the band, I wonder where that name came from, and also what bipolar architecture would actually look like.
Maybe Jackson Pollock doing some buildings.
Yeah.
Are you going to shed some light in it, Rich?
Or lots of, well, no. I mean, presumably it'd be lots of skyscrapers and then lots of sort of holes in the ground or something. I don't know. But next to it.
Right.
Anyway,
that's a super track, lads. Right, track number 2. I'm going to leave this in the capable hands of yourself, Tim. This is your bad boy.
Yeah. Three Eyes of the Void. Ukrainian, Polish, post-black metal band. Didn't know them before. Somehow the algorithm of the internet supplied it to me last couple of weeks somewhere, and a friend recommended after that also, so I had to check it out. First I thought, okay, that's very impressive, that's cool, but then I listened it a couple of more times with full blasting in the living room. Like, there's a lot of happening here in the whole album. But the song I picked also, Descent. You want to listen to it first? And then
yes, give it a blast, Tim. Let's give it a blast.
Yeah, all right.
Right, guys, there you go. That's Tim's choice, guys. Three Eyes of the Void. The track is Descent from the album The Atheist, which is out on October 27th, released by Folter Records. Tim, lead away again there on this one.
Yeah, I think it's a very cool song, Descent. It starts off with a more chanting vocal. I don't know how you call it, chanting.
Chanting, I'd go the same. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. Then later on, there's the more black metal scream coming in, and it's very aggressive, very fast double bass, black metal style. And in the middle of the song breaks, and then there starts a bit of a lounge, jazzy with a saxophone. The saxophonist from White Ward plays that, and I found it cool that they stay for 4 minutes in that lounge, and later on they start aggressive again. And you could have expected that they would bring back the vocals back again. They don't. They keep it instrumental, and I thought that very cool. That is a cool choice to do that. And then it stays there, and it even finishes off also with a piano coming in. So yeah, it has some White Ward vibes also because of the violin and the progressive elements, I think, and the combination with the black metal. So yeah, very impressive musicianship. Very cool.
What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I liked it. It's quite a progressive feel to the opening. Again, I read their Bandcamp bio and the tags at the bottom, and it was generally black metal being mentioned, no mention of prog. So again, it was a surprising opening, but then obviously the black metal starts to kick in. It's a nice combination of clean and harsh vocals that works for me, as we discussed before. Musically, it's very dense. I think I want the guitar parts to be a bit cleaner and clearer in the midsection than I'm hearing, but again, it's just personal choice, and I think it's probably the blacker element of their sounds that I'm not getting on with as well. And then the serene piano outro was quite a surprise, a nice surprise. Like Tim, I was expecting it to finish, blasting its way through to a big climax. That didn't happen. So it suggests, I haven't heard anything else by the band, but it might suggest that they do like to change things up and have some variation in their music, which I'll certainly be checking out. There's definitely more to them than meets the three eyes. Thank you.
Nicely put. How can I follow that up, for fuck's sake? That's it.
I did pre-prepare that one. I have to. Well, it's not something that was spontaneous. I'm sorry.
Well, here's my mere observations on it. Right. Again, like Tim, I loved everything about it here. I love the double bass kicks, incredible. I mentioned to Tim just off air there that there's a band. This track, the minute the harsher vocal came in, Tim, I don't know if you can remember Moonspell and the album Wolfheart from it was their first album, maybe, was it? I got that vibe from this track, that gothic style, that vampire sort of atmosphere, that's
it's the second album, I think. Second, first one, I think. But okay.
Oh, I think it just came second.
I thought first, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll correct you there, Tim.
I know what you mean.
Wolfheart was first.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but those vocals, that's where I got it. I love it. It's very melancholic, very downcast. I disagree with you, Tim, Rich, on the guitar tone. I loved it. I just think it needed that little bit of grittiness, and it got it. I think, maybe that's the blackened element coming through. Yeah.
It wasn't the tone so much. It was more the mix of not the guitar parts with the percussion. Just it sounded a bit too dense. I just wanted them to be a bit more separate, perhaps.
All right. Okay.
But it's just a mild irritation.
But again, we don't want to see you irritated anytime, Rich.
No. You definitely don't want to see. No, not even mildly. No.
Not even mildly. But again, Tim, saxophone. I think we both agree. We both love a bit of saxophone in our music, And when I heard this track, and I knew it was your track, and then I heard White Ward was involved, I goes, yeah. Tim all over it, absolutely all over it. I listened to the album a few times. I think the album is fantastic. I think it's the opening track, Behind the Stars, Tim. It's probably one of my favorite tracks at the moment, but this is a close second. And again, another band I used to remember there is a bit of a DIY project made by Gray from Greece. I don't know if you ever heard him, Tim or Rich. More post-rocky, but there was elements of that here too, especially with the saxophone. Again, worth checking out. Jesus, thumbs up again. That's the second track. That is definite 8, 9 out of 10 for me, without a doubt. Yeah, I'll agree. Good track.
Good stuff. Yeah,
brilliant. Three Eyes of the Void, lads. The track is Descent. The album The Atheist was out by the time this comes out. Was out on October 27th. Released by Photo Records. Fantastic stuff. Track number 3 already, guys. Rich Bewley, take this one away, man.
Yes, this is a band called the Black Garden Circus, who are from Campania. I think I've pronounced that correctly, in Italy. They're a three-piece. It's their second album. This track is taken from Epoch, although the second E has got an accent on it, but I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it. It was released at the beginning of November. It follows Everything Is Different, the debut album, which came out in 2020, 3 years ago. It's the opening track, and it's called Noesi, I think.
You're really trying to get your pronunciations right here, Richard. This one, they've tested you.
I've stitched myself up by choosing it, but anyway, it was too good to leave out.
Exactly. Let's have a blast of it, lads. So there you have it, guys. The Black Garden Circus. The track is Noesi, maybe. I know, is that a better or worse attempt at it than what Rich did?
Definitely worse. Definitely worse.
Take the lead on it anyway.
Yeah. The track is split into 4 distinct parts for me. So you've got a great dark riff, which propels it along to begin with. I really love the drums in the early part of this track. Really powerful, really cleanly hit. And again, with the bass as a 3-piece, those 3 parts working well, but not in isolation, because obviously they're in a band, but they're all playing a part and an equal part in building the track up. It then breaks into sort of a more thoughtful, introspective, kind of playful bit. And then you've just got this sudden, urgent riff that comes in with a fairly explosive bass line as well. And it's they break it down again, which is the 3rd part, and then it fires up for the last couple of minutes into serious sort of Russian circles and Pelican territory. I'm sure those boys would be pretty proud of producing something like this. So yeah, overall, really, really interesting, really great. Took me to different places in the space of 6 or 7 minutes. Can't even remember what the track time is.
Yeah, 7.5 minutes, Rich.
And it's part of a 6-track album, which is Name Your Price on Bandcamp. So what are you waiting for?
Jesus, yeah. I mean, if anybody, hats off to the band for putting their music out there for free.
Yeah.
I don't get why they do it. I suppose I do get why they do it. But it's deserved of something, isn't it?
Absolutely. And,
I think they've stated free download, did they, as opposed to Name Your Price? Is there a difference?
Possibly. I feel guilty because I downloaded the album quickly last week and didn't pay for it, but I shall be chucking the band some cash, and hopefully the fact that I've picked it for this will at least get them some cash coming in for people that actually want to pay for the album, because it's definitely worth a few quid of most people's money, I think.
What's that, Tim?
thousands of euros are coming in now after this.
Oh, look, come here, the thanks, the praise we're going to get because
I look forward
millions
to
of viewers.
I look forward to the T-shirt arriving in the post, guys. So.
It comes through me, Rich.
Make sure it's an extra large then.
Yeah. But yeah, the bass, you mentioned the bass already, Rich. The bass for me was the first thing to strike me. Like the drumming now as well was incredible, but the tone of that bass was beautiful. Loved it, absolutely loved it. This is and there's not I can't see anything wrong about this track. It's well played. The patterns don't follow the norm. It's a little different, a little quirky in places, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Even those drum patterns isn't what you'd expect from an intro. But yeah, more of that. Absolutely more of that. I haven't given the album my full time yet, but after that track, I'll definitely be delving into it. Yeah, absolutely. Rich, sorry, Tim.
Yeah, I love the swirling drums in the beginning, and agree with you. Or both say like also the bass is very massive into the mix, and it's cool. But I also like more at the end of the song. It's almost like they have two guitars. I hear two guitars, I think. So I don't know if they have a loop or a reverb or they record it in two, or I don't know. I don't know how they do it live, or it just sounds like that. I'm not a musician, so I don't know too much about it. But it's they're producing such a wall of sound and layered with only three of them. So that's pretty impressive.
It's impressive, isn't it?
I don't know if it's because I heard two guitars, and I presume, I'm not a musician either, that they're using the loop pedal at some point. Certainly in the latter part of the track, because there are two different lines being played. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the first thing that I listened to that bit. I had a little bit of I didn't know that they had only one guitar player. I had a little bit of feeling of old Judas Priest, the dual guitars, the twin guitar part. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And there you go. You mentioned the dual guitar, and you mentioned Judas Priest. I would have mentioned Tin Lizzy. It's amazing how the comparisons are there. Yeah, that dual guitaring is a beautiful thing to hear. Like, pedal boards, lads. I suppose that's where the mastery comes, is it?
Yeah,
it has to be like. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Russian Circus earlier. Like those boys have pedal boards, as you know, fucking size of the stage. Like, so anything is possible, I suppose.
Yes.
I mean, with modern technology last
play them well,
and two members, so there's hope for us yet, guys. There's hope for us yet. I mean, there's even a fucking guitar there. You think I'd know something about it, but I don't.
Yeah. Gone on the days of those one pieces which had, a pair of cymbals on their head, which they used to remember?
All held by strings attached to your feet and hands, like a marionette.
It's not like that anymore.
No, geez, the times have moved on. But come here again, as
luckily not.
That's our third track, as we've had three absolute belters. That's the Black Garden Circus. Noisy, I think, is the track. It's called from the album Epoch or Epoche, however you pronounce it, Rich. I'm not sure, but
well, you're braver than me. Well done.
I am braver. I probably rue that mistake, but anyway, as we said, lad, this is free on Bandcamp. I mean, I want everybody to try and support them if they can, and if you can give something towards the band, if merch comes out, T-shirts, CDs, whatever, give them their support. Great call, Rich. Nice one. Nice call.
Thank you. Glad you liked it.
We're on to track number 4. This came in to the inbox 2 weeks ago, guys. This came from a guy called Matt Park, who has his own side project, Bite the Boxer. This is a track called We Can't Just Fly. Have a listen and we'll have a chat. So there you have it, guys. That is Bite the Boxer. A track is We Can't Just Fly. He's from England, UK. I'm not sure what part. This has been released, I think, on December 13th is what it says on Bandcamp, but I may be wrong. You may be able to see the full album now. But look, to quote from his Bandcamp page, atmospheric, accessible yet intricate and genre fluid music producer Bite the Boxer started releasing music in 2020, has since made an impact with songs that are stylistically varied from industrial, post-rock, trip-hop, alt-pop, and ambient lo-fi. There's some new genres for us to fucking chew on, lads.
I think that's the first time trip-hop's been mentioned on this show, by the way.
It is the first time. It's the first time for everything. But again, do you know, this was quite refreshing, I thought. You know, when you get yourself bogged into the metal and rock aspect of things, this was a nice break from it all. Something different. There was a bit of a 65 Days of Static vibe coming from this track, I thought. Maybe a bit of ties from Nebula as well. I think we'll all agree it was a very short track. Samples, textures, fuzzy guitars, a bit of distortion, makes it all interesting. Again, almost cinematic at times. Maybe this could easily have been 6 or 7, 8 minutes from a band that would be more cinematic in approach. You know, you could have drawn this track out, but he didn't. So there's a lot of layers in it, very electronic. But yeah, as I said, it's something different, lads. It's something interesting. And I would listen to an album of this music for something different. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I would listen to that also. Yeah, it's a bit too short in my opinion. Could have lasted 2 minutes longer, I think. But that's a compliment, I think, because it has a lot of melody in it that sticks really into your brain, into my brain at least. And I found it very interesting that there seems to be two moods. More the happy, uplifting mood and a more darker, melancholic.
There is actually a good break in it, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, and I found that very attractive and nicely done for a one-man band.
And to do that, as you said, Tim, that contrast in the space of 3 minutes, you know, it's pretty impressive. Like, you get two aspects, as you said, and I'm not sure the time, 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Like, so there you go. Rich, what do you make of it?
Yeah, similar to you guys. By the way, I mean, Bite the Boxer. I'm not sure that's allowed, by the way, in professional boxing, but
well, exactly, Rich.
Yeah, it
has been done, though.
Yeah, it has. Another interesting name. Made a nice change from all the crashing, banging, and walloping that we've had so far. First of all, it's very difficult to put this into a genre box, which we like doing on the review room, don't we? So it's dark, it's ambient, it's glitchy. There's a word. I got the 65 Days vibe, definitely. I have listened to a bit of trip hop and it leans towards it, but it's got like a post-rock fabric to it, or foundation. But obviously much more electronic than a lot of post-rock, so hence the 65 Days connection. Whether Matt has ever listened to 65 Days of Static or whether it's just a coincidence would be possibly interesting to know from him. So Matt, 65 Days of Static, are you a fan? If not, check them out. And yeah, like you two guys, over too soon. It would just seem like it was getting started and then suddenly it's all over. But yeah, I haven't checked it out. Is the rest of the album, are the tracks longer? Are they a similar time frame?
Again, I haven't given it too much either, because as I said, it mentions the 13th of December as a
it's not
date.
out yet. Sorry, it's not out yet.
But I have a feeling it might actually be there. It's worth checking out. But look, that track will make you go to the album anyway. I would think anyone that's listening in here hears that, has any influence with or any taste or leans towards that 65 Days of Static vibe, will absolutely no-brainer check this out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a few of the post-rock bands, some of their members are breaking out, aren't they, and doing their own sort of ambient, glitchy stuff. Brave Arrows, you know, the guy from If These Trees Could Talk. I mean, not all of it is this kind of stuff, but there are a couple of tracks that again reminded me slightly.
Michael Socrates, he's after Banjo. And you also have the guy from PG Lost, who's doing it as well, I suppose.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, I suppose these guys are gifted. They have these talents. They might as well express them. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there you go, Matt. Thanks for the track. Thanks for dropping it by the Smashing Skull Sessions and a review of them. Really appreciate it. That's Bite the Boxer. We can't just fly. Head to Bandcamp, lads. As we always say, we're sick of saying it at this stage, but it's the truth. Right. Track number 5. Another one that came in through the inbox. This is a band called Humulus. The track is Blackwater from the album Flowers of Death. They're from Italy. It's been released on November the 10th. I won't even try and attempt the band members' names because my Italian pronunciation is fucking shocking. So let's go straight to the track. There you have it, guys. That is Humulus. The track is Blackwater from the album Flowers of Death, hailing from Italy, being released on November the 10th. Three band members, Thomas Mascheroni, Giorgio Bonacorsi, and Massimiliano Boventi. Fair play, lads.
Nice.
Right, down to the music. Again, just a quick bio recap from something I read on rock and roll, garage rock, heavy psych, space rock, stoner. I probably epitomizes everything about this, really. The track itself, lads, I just got that Black Sabbath vibe from that opening riff. That's what I could hear. I do tend to like that 70s vibe. I like that sound in the guitar. Again, the vocal tone, I really enjoyed it. Just enough rasp in it, but not overpowering. A bit of Baroness, if I was to be so brave as to say that, in places. Again, this stoner rock and this garage rock, whatever you want to call it, it's always, there's a bit of a positive buzz about it. It's definitely driving in the car, windows down, sun shining, which we don't see too much of, to be fair, but it's that vibe, that's where this music really sort of comes alive, I think. So yeah, a good track. I haven't really heard much of the album. I think it's in the inbox, so I will get to it. Rich, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm always up for a bit of stoner psych, because there's plenty of multiple Italian bands that are in the same place. You thought of Black Sabbath. I actually thought of an Italian band called Black Rainbows. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys. No. Possibly a bit heavier than these, but again, I've only just heard the one track. It's very well played, but it kind of falls more in the stoner side of things than the psych side of things. And what I mean by that is it's full of traditional riffs and a couple of solos, and there's less kind of repetition, sort of head spinning repetition and sonic mayhem that you get from the kind of psychedelic side of some bands, which is obviously where I tend to be more at musically.
Okay.
But they have produced their own IPA beer a few years ago, so that's noteworthy in itself. And it's called Black Stoner. So again, I want a T-shirt from the Black Garden Circus, and I'd like some beer off these guys because we've got them on the show. So yeah, top marks for the beer. The music, as I say, really well played. I will listen to the album because I always like to try and place the track that we've reviewed in the album, if that makes sense, just to get an overall a better picture. So yeah, thanks for sending it in.
Yeah. Do you put music to seasons? Like I mentioned there, it's definitely a summer vibe. I find
no, I don't.
You don't? No, it's just me.
It is just you, yeah. I think you
is
are
it just
alone
is
in
it
the entire
hearing,
world, actually, as far as that. I don't know. Tim, do you do it?
Tim, where would you place this type of music? Do you categorize it at all seasonally? No.
In a season?
Yeah. No.
I thought you were talking about salt and pepper.
I haven't thought about.
No. Okay, it's just me.
I haven't thought about in season wise.
Okay. I think that's just me craving a fucking summer, lads.
Yeah.
We didn't really have one, did we?
No. Tim, what do you think yourself?
It's a good solid song. Not too spectacular. I think the opening riff somehow of some of what reminded me of Queens of the Stone Age a bit.
Good show.
But the song, in all, stays a little bit in mid tempo.
Yeah.
And I like my stoner a bit more up tempo. So but it's played very well. So it's a solid song.
Yeah, I mean, we're dropping names like Queen of the Stone Age, Baroness, Black Sabbath. Who did you mention? Black Rainbow, was it?
Black Rainbows, yeah.
You know, I suppose anyone who delves in those genres and those bands will probably find more in this than we have done in this one track.
Yeah.
You know, it's I suppose it's very hard to gauge an album off one track, like, because albums can be so varied, like, but look, I think it's a solid release. We wish the guys well. November 10th, so it'll already have been released when this show is out. So best luck, lads, with that one. Right, we're already on to our last track number 6 of the night, and another man who's on the missing list. The same man who's on the missing list, actually. Yeah, Rich Murphy. He actually got back, lads, safely from Japan, believe it or not, and he still couldn't fucking make it to the show. So, Rich, you can. If you don't mind introducing his track, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, he did actually manage to find the time to send us his track. I don't know. I've heard of the band previously. I don't know their music, but I'm certainly interested in finding out more about them now. They're called Wolvennest. I believe they're from Belgium. I believe this track is from a recent released album. Possibly early November, possibly slightly before that. The track is called, and it's very well named, The Dark Path to the Light.
Right, let's give it a spin.
Don't be afraid. Follow the voices. Just let it go and join us in the eternal sea. He walks among us with his eyes. He's golden arms are waiting for you. Don't be
Okay, so there you have it, guys. That is Rich Murphy's track. The band is Wolvennest. The track is called The Dark Path to the Light. Go on, Rich, seeing as you introduced it for Rich Murphy, give us a speed on it.
I love the atmosphere of this. This is right up my street. They call themselves black metal, but for me, this is more doom gaze. There's a lot of fuzzy wall of sound guitars going on. It reminds me of a band who are newer, but I'm going to mention them, called ELR from Switzerland, who I absolutely love. And, you know, they have a female vocalist. I think, yeah, Wolvennest probably got more of an edge to them, more of a metal edge, whereas ELR probably going in a shoegazy direction, possibly. But there is a lot of similarity in their music. It's eerie and uplifting in the best possible way for me. As I say, it maintains this stunning wall of sound throughout, with a nice female vocal, and crucially for me, it doesn't ruin it by bringing in the unnecessary growls, because they just aren't necessary in this. The blast beats even probably aren't necessary, because it just has that massive sound without the need to overdo things. Yeah, the album it comes from I haven't listened to yet, but Wolvennest have definitely got a new fan just on this track alone.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Tim?
Yeah, I was familiar with this band already a couple of years now. Saw them live 2 times, I think, or 3 times. Yeah, I love the music they make. I think it's a brilliant musicianship. It's a 6-piece band, 3 guitars, some synth, but also the, how you pronounce it, the theremin instrument. The female singer is playing live also that instrument, so it gives a very haunting atmosphere. It's like you're witnessing a mass, what do you call it? I have to say that the whole album and also the whole show, I find it hard to get my attention the whole right up till the end, because it stays all in the same atmosphere and the same pace.
Yeah,
some variation in, but so that's you have to get into it, and then it's a brilliant stuff, and also the musicians are very familiar and well-known musicians from other bands in Belgium, from Brussels. They are, so it's pure class what's in there. I've seen them live a couple of weeks ago at Samhain, and ELR was also playing there.
Okay.
So I understand the same vibe, and also the French band was also there. Dolch is also a little bit in the same corner. So yeah, you have to love it. Or
I would say it's an interesting experience live, Tim.
Yeah.
Especially if did they get that sound across, because it is very haunting, absolutely. It's very eerie.
Yeah. What you hear now, they create that also on stage. That's brilliant stuff. Yeah.
Like DLR reference, Rich. Like I'd be a big fan of VLR as well. I think I think there's more of a difference than you maybe made out. I think personally, because I think ELR have a bigger sound. This is very much, as you mentioned, Tim, one tempo. As I think ELR tend to play around with pace and speed a bit more, you know. But taking nothing away from it, doom gaze, as you said, we classify it as doom gaze. I don't hear black metal there at all.
No. And I think there's a difference. ELR is also a 3-piece band, so that's less layers, well, more on the front, I think, and this is more the 3 guitars, and there's layers.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah,
massive. Yeah. So, but
This is more about atmosphere, isn't it? This track, I think.
Yeah, really atmospheric.
It's thick in that gothic-y haunting sound. Yeah. Right, Rich.
I think that's why I like it.
That's why you like it. That's basically your background, Rich, isn't it?
That's my thing. Yeah.
Anyone else you could reference them to from back in your day?
Yeah, I mean, there is that kind of gothic. I'm going to swerve the question, because talking of gothic, me and Rich, he is alive because I spent the weekend with him at 2 different gigs. We went to see A.A. Williams. I'll come back to that in a minute. But we saw the Sisters of Mercy on Saturday night up in Newcastle.
Okay, nice.
They were great fun. Andrew Eldritch was on top form.
That's a good reference to this track, I think, actually, the Sisters of Mercy.
A little bit.
That atmosphere, there is, yeah.
Yeah, but the Sisters have always been a bit lo-fi, particularly live. They sound a bit bigger on record. Certainly the album 2 and 3 are a bit bigger because they got the wheeled-in Meatloaf man, Jim Steinman, for a bit more of a production feel. But they've always had a drum machine rather than live drums, so they've got a kind of it's almost like a dancey kind of feel to them live.
I thought you were just going to leave that the wheeled Meatloaf in. I would say, come on, to fuck.
No, what was Meatloaf's massive hit?
I'll Do Anything for Love, was it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So that was produced by Jim Steinman, who then produced Floodland, the second Sisters of Mercy album, and it's got that kind of histrionic element to the Sisters' second album, which wasn't there before. But anyway, I've swerved the question successfully, I think.
Very successfully, yeah.
But in fact, in terms of eerie and mystical, the support band for A.A. Williams, I don't know if either of you are familiar with them, but they blew me away. A band called Calandra.
No.
I
have a feeling I've seen the actual band name, but I wouldn't know the music,
From Norway, I think. So you can imagine she's got a voice like an absolute angel. This tiny little female singer, beautiful stuff. I'll send you a link to one of their tracks. It was special stuff.
Brilliant. So there you have it. Rich Murphy, thanks for the track in here. That was our final track. That was Wolvennest. The track's called "The Dark Path to the Light." Thanks guys for having a chat about it. That's it. That's our 6 tracks wrapped up. Again, I asked it. We're starting to ask it at the end of every show. Favorite track of the evening? Where would you go with this one, Rich?
For me, it was the last one we heard. I think that was probably the one that I was most positive about. And I think you decided previously that we're kind of not allowed to vote for the track that we brought into the show. So
did I mention that today?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So if I can't have the Black Garden Circus, then I'll go with Wolvennest, and I've got the album downloaded to listen to this week.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm going to break with tradition, so Rich, because I'm going to pick the track I brought in. Bipolar Architecture, lads, is an absolute...
Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly, yeah. I'm in control. No, it's definitely my standout track. If there was a close second, it's probably Three Eyes of the Void, purely because I've been listening to that album for the last week, and the whole album is just top quality. So, Tim, what did you think? What's your favorite track?
Yeah, well, of course, the one I brought in favorite, but also the Bipolar and Wolvennest,
just all of them.
Same second. I like those songs. Even equally. So that cool.
Great stuff. And just so everybody knows, actually, all these tracks, guys, are all compiled on the Review Room Collective. It's a Spotify playlist. Keep your eyes out for that too. Right, Rich, Tim, thanks so much, guys, for that. I enjoyed that again.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Tim. Good to catch up.
Next month, guys, we'll be having an end of year special, and our plan is to bring 3 albums must-hear albums of the year per man, and that'll be interesting. So stay tuned for that. Until then, thanks to Rich Dewey, who produces and edits the show. Thanks again to the Rising Sun Brewery, who produce some fantastic beer here in Cork, and they're our main sponsors. Thanks guys for everything done over the course of the year. And everybody else, we see you all next month. Take care.